Hey everybody, it's Jay, and today I'm out here testing out the RAK or Rack 1 trigger from Century Arms. These have kind of become the de facto cheap AK trigger now that the Tapco G2 is pretty well gone. The big key feature of this is that it offers a relatively affordable, as in around $30 trigger group that mimics the pull of the Tapco G2, but does not deform the tail of the bolt carrier. So the Tapco G2s, either because of incorrect geometry or because of over hardening, would start to mushroom out the bolt carrier tail as the bolt carrier made contact with the face of that hammer moving backwards. Not something that's probably a functional issue, but something that is almost certainly, it's definitely a cosmetic issue, but it's something that is not really a wear part for an AK, and so if you can avoid that damage, why not avoid that damage? The hammer geometry on this is different than the G2, and I'll show the difference later on at the table, but I'm going to test fire this for now and see how it does. The first few rounds I'm going to just check function. I've already checked safety function without any ammunition in it. Then I'm going to rapid fire just to see how the pull is, and then for the last bit I'll fire from my hip using my middle finger. A few people have noticed that I do that occasionally in videos, and told me to use the right finger and to hold the rifle properly. And if you've been around for a while, you know why I do that, and hopefully you'll get to see why I do that in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rounds through it, and then we'll cut back over to the table to go over the look and the comparison to the G2. So test firing was fine on that first few rounds, so I'm going to do a rapid fire string. And now I'll try shooting from the hip. And it's empty. So I only had like 4 rounds left in that mag, so I'm going to try the hip fire one more time. This is not a practical test or anything, just for fun. Worked fine. So I hosed the internals down with grease, which is why it looks like this, because I was about to throw this gun into storage before I decided to do this video. But regardless, this is the Rack 1 hammer, and then by comparison, here is a G2 Tapco hammer. And I'm doing this freehand, so I apologize for the shaky cam, but you can see how much more severely angled the G2 is by comparison to the Rack 1. It has this big hump right here on this side here, and that hump is actually so severe. I had one of these in my PSL when I had a PSL, and it would bolt hold open my bolt, I guess would be the appropriate term for that, and actually caused malfunctions. And so I ended up having to reshape that hammer myself to keep it from doing a bolt hold open. Trigger shoe looks to be pretty much identical to the Tapco. Not really any difference there. The action on this is a lot smoother riding across the bolt than it was with the Tapco G2, because it's not hitting that hump as it goes back and forth. And the pull seems about the same. I'll try to do this one-handed. It has kind of an indeterminate break. There's no wall. You just start to pull, and then it goes off. It's not going to give you a repeatable pull for, match target shooting, but that's totally fine. I find the pull is pretty smooth. I think it's actually smoother out of the box than the Tapcos. Usually with the Tapcos, I have to polish them up to get rid of the grit. And reset is not the shortest, but it's pretty close to where The break is pretty close to where the reset is, so it still makes it a pretty fast trigger. So overall, I think for a $30 trigger, it seems good. I probably won't do a follow-up video on this trigger unless something goes haywire with it, or unless something, the internet finds out something later on that might be wrong with them. But it seems like a good alternative, especially if you're having to pull and replace some Tapco G2s. If you don't want to go with like a 2-stage, like the FIME or the new Arsenal trigger group. So this is Jay. Hope you liked the video. Please click like if you did. We really appreciate it. And I will see you again soon next time.